Agree. Do Santa Fe's free. I wonder what would make good vlogging. Tell me a subject I should talk about, and I'm gonna see if I could just talk about that for 10 minutes.
Compare the Bible to One Piece.
That might actually be a good subject, but I'm not familiar enough with One Piece to be able to just record. You don't need to do anything. One Piece, I don't even know about One Piece to even compare the Bible. And honestly, it's kind of sad. I probably don't even know enough about the Bible to even compare the Bible with my life. Because the Bible is very deep. There's a lot of material in that one. So, yeah. If you want to read the Bible in a year, there's a lot of reading programs, Bible reading programs, so you can get familiar with all of it. Because there's stories in the Bible that will blow you away. You're like, what? This is in the Bible? I just heard of a story recently. Oh man, about like a bunch of... The Bible's full of sex, like a lot of sex, like freaking, yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happens sexually. And you know, Bathsheba, someone described Bathsheba as a prostitute. So that's kind of wild, because Bathsheba was on the rooftop of her house or wherever she was taking a bath, and she's right there next to where King David is going to look over and see her taking a bath. And then that dude is all going to be like, oh man, she's beautiful, send her over to my place so I could have a good time. It's like, whoa. King David, I don't know, was he married at the time? See, that's the thing. If you don't read the Bible, you don't really know all the details. But
yeah, this is kind of a random statement.
Go ahead.
But when you said the Bible's filled with sex and murder and whatnot.
Yeah, all that.
That kind of
yeah,
I'm
true.
just whatever.
It's true. A lot of
it kind of reminded me of this one
sex
episode in Young Sheldon. He was gonna watch. Oh, he was reading Watchmen comic.
Oh, Watchmen comic, really?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
He was reading it, and the mother says, "Oh," since she's very Christian in
At
that
the
show,
window.
and she says, "Oh, I don't like how you reading this comic book."
Oh shoot. Hold it for a minute, just to get the content. Get over Rover. Get over Rover.
Darn it.
What the heck? You have an appointment today?
Yeah, we're on the freeway.
Dude, we only been recording for 3 minutes?
Yes,
It's crazy.
Bye, I love you.
Crazy stuff. So,
Mama had a latte.
she had a what?
Latte.
Aww.
I never
busted.
had coffee.
She never got me a latte.
Yeah, to continue with my
Thanks a
statement.
latte.
In Young
Should we
Sheldon,
go back and get her or just leave
No,
her?
it's gonna.
Okay. Anyways, Young Sheldon.
Oh yeah, in Young Sheldon, the mom saw Watchmen comic and she looked through it and whatnot, and she goes to the comic book guy and said, "Oh, I don't like how you sold this to my son and whatnot, blah blah." And he didn't really. I don't believe in what he said. And the night or like a couple hours later, Sheldon walks into mom's room and said, "Here's the Bible. It's filled with
Sex and violence.
sex, violence, and yeah."
Wow, that's pretty, yeah, but again, it's like we were talking about earlier about the difference between grotesque sex and violence and like sex and violence that kind of moves the story. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not familiar with Watchmen. I just know the movie was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And, a I'm not that. I didn't even realize that Watchmen was out that long. So Watchmen came out in the early 90s?
Probably.
Because Young Sheldon is in the early 90s or early 90s. Right?
I believe. I think so.
Whoa. But yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Which Young Sheldon kind of made a comparison.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like what ethically, what is the correct?
Ethically, that's true.
What is good violence? What is good sex?
Yeah.
That kind of.
Well, like we talked about earlier today about having
having sex in movies.
Sex in movies and violence. Like some movies want to just do gore. Like crazy, just to do gore. And then there's movies that want to just do a lot of sex just to have sex.
Yeah, for you can get a bunch of perverts.
Yeah, I've seen both.
Instead of like,
like,
why are they having sex?
Yeah.
As such.
But then we also talked about having sex and violence kind of implied. And
how
that could make the stories more engaging, because if you engage someone's mind, they're more like willing to probably invest.
More think about it.
Yeah, more.
Then like if you actually show it, it's like kind of leaving room for imagination.
Yeah.
Whether if it's a sex scene, whether if it's a gore scene, killing, anything like that.
But there's a fine line to that too, because it's like.
But you have to be smart about it, of course.
That's why
like
people go to schools for years to be able to write good. Even like. It's like how I feel even about preachers. You may have the gift to preach, but I believe that preachers should go to school to kind of confirm what they're about, because it's like being able to handle information in a good way without it being too like opinionated or too manipulative.
Yeah.
Like with the news.
Yeah, I agree that whether if it is church related or wherever, anyone should still go to school for anything. Like I had a very, like for example with me,
yeah.
Of course I'm kind of pretty weird with it, but it took me like 4 years to finally kind of shoot straight.
Yeah.
Like finally
have
a target.
I agree, and that's what I was going to say too. You got to solidify your talent. Like even if you're a good actor, you probably should go to acting school to kind of solidify your talent or solidify your direction in life.
Yeah.
Or even the other extreme too. I've heard stories about people that wanted to be a writer, but they didn't write. But they went to school to learn how to write, and then they become a successful writer. So there's certain ways to develop what you want to do. Like even with your drawing, I don't think you drew very well before, but now you draw way better because you've developed something you wanted to do.
I know. I was about to bring that up since, I was okay for beginner.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm way better compared to then, because I actually like proportional and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because
and perspective and everything.
Yeah.
Just to be able to make a picture more enjoyable to look at when it's not all kind of
jump it up.
Yeah. and it's also with all kind of it's just like taking those desires and harnessing them like video editing. I love creating video. I love creating story with moving pictures, motion pictures. And if I really was very invested, I would take classes to learn how to do it as good as possible. Like living in a way that like is more intentional, like you say, shooting straight. It's being more intentional about what you do, like doing a video vlog. You got to be on topic, and you lose people when you start talking about like, oh well, I was walking through a garden and I saw bee, went to another flower, and another flower. It's like, no, that's not how you do good. Like all the video vloggers that I listen to or I watch, they're pretty much on topic the whole 6 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. They're on topic. And if they go off a little bit, it's still related to what they're saying.
Exactly. You could be all jumbled up all over around, but it has to be collated to the original statement where it was. As such as we were talking about, like, what is good ethics corresponding to like violence movies and whatnot. Then we're talking about school.
Yeah, and it goes together, because if you want to learn good writing and even know the ethics of storytelling, you should take a course. You should go to a class, or even get involved in a club. Like I was talking to Nero too this week, and he was talking about how he wants to start a band and how he finds good band members and stuff like that. And he says that some band members are more
not aggressive,
narcissistic. No, more. What's it called when you just think about yourself?
Yeah, narcissistic.
Yeah, narcissistic. But he also talked about like people who do bands that are there just to make money. Like when I was in a band, probably not the best analogy.
Have you checked the lottery ticket?
Yeah, it was a loser. I told you.
Yeah, it was a loser.
Yeah, but the ones in your, and someone won that 20, or it's down to 20 now.
Okay. Love you.
Yeah, but my point, my coherent thought is going with this is like sometimes you'll be around. Like the musician analogy, I think is a good analogy, because when you're around musicians that are talented, a lot of their talent could rub off on you, and you'll start to be able to maybe even hold down the strings differently, because you've watched maybe someone that's a little bit more talented hold the strings down better. Or, there's a lot of different reasons why you get involved. Like if I was really
into it,
more ambitious, I guess. If I was more ambitious about video making, I would find people that actually have successful video vlogs and see how they do it. See how they tell stories, be around them, and then maybe even watching some videos that might help you construct better video content. Even if you're not doing it to show the world, but if you make good videos for your family or friends, you want them to be like, whoa, this was cool. I actually watched the whole 10 minutes and didn't want to click away because it was moving along. So it's just like with writing, be around writers. Like even if you are a mechanic, you want to be around other mechanics that know about working on cars. I was around some people that were working on cars before, and they have a little bit of knowledge that they want to share, but again, you got to find the people that are really excited about their topic, because if they're not excited, they're not really willing to show you anything, because they just want to be able to if they do whatever craft you're trying to learn. Some people do that craft for a living. Like if they do video making for a living, they're not likely to want to share that knowledge with you. If they're a mechanic and they do that for a living, again, they might not be likely to want to share any knowledge with you because they do that all day long. So, you got to find the people, like for example, I'm in the medical field. I'm not going to really, I can't think of any reason why I want to talk about any of that for on my off time. I'll probably be willing to share some knowledge and some of my experience, but for the most part, I'm not going to want to do that. So it's just, again, by all means, if you're able to be around people that may be a serious hobby, do serious hobbies, they may be really cool to be around. So that's part of it all. When you go from learning to write, be around writers. Some people went to school to be a writer, and then again, those kind of people might not be that excited about it. They may not, they might want to play video games all day when they get home. They might not want to be writing scripts for you, but I've been around. I've been fortunate enough to have people write some content for my videos. But then again, see, that's another level of it. You could have someone write or even do a storyboard for you to create a good video, but you won't be able to harness that unless you know how to execute the storyboard or the script. Like good script, you might be able to have some good dialogue or good description for storytelling, but you got to be able to. I could see how it would get complicated and intimidating. It would be intimidating probably for some people to see a storyboard and say, well, those are the shots I need. You could probably get the shots, but you might need a different location. Like right now, you could probably see that. Could you see that through the camera? That's a good backdrop for some storytelling right there, downtown LA. If you're able to get that for a backdrop.
I know, when we get closer.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Usually when after the exchange, it's pretty good backdrop right there. So, but yeah, I think there's some storytelling I want to do. I want to be able to revisit my Timo season, but try to copy some of the. I need to watch Gumo. I think I need to make better notes to kind of make Timo look like Gumo. Even though Gumo was a little bit more dark and
it's
sad.
Pretty dark.
I want to capture some of the darkness from my storytelling because I think it moves the story along. Again, some of Gumo I think was grotesque just for the sake of it. Some of the shots and whatever, I don't know if it exactly pushed the story along, and then Gumo was more of a cultural thing. The content is more cultural, so you gotta find out who your audience is and tell that story. I really have a desire to tell stories that other 40-year-old men could relate to, because I know I'm not the only one in this situation. It may not be as common, but I know from the examples I have in my life, I have I have best friends that got married, had kids, totally got to be a solid father, and then I got another friend that got married, never had any kids, got a divorce, and he's kind of almost in the same situation as me, and I like to tell that story. I would love to be able to make the compare and contrast because I have, unfortunately, more of my friends that have been divorced than I have friends that have been married for over 20 years already. And that's like pretty wild when you think about like being married that long in this culture. There's a lot to keep it together, and it's weird. It's weird because it kind of tests my theory about what I believe about you. You have to have a lot in common. You have to have a lot more in common than you have different in a good relationship. And like my friend that I'm thinking of, I don't know what he had in common with his wife, but he's been married for over 20 years already. So, I mean, I wouldn't know, actually. I haven't had a chance.
This kind of might be a hot take message, but I would kind of say you need someone that have difference and similarities. Kind of like both of them has to be the same amount. Because if you have someone that's you like the same things, it would kind of dry up. Kind of may dry up.
Yeah,
of course, every single relationship
is about the
100%.
The core. Like for example, when it comes to Lego, I'm not likely to find any woman that's into Lego. But like religion is a very important thing, and I don't think you can't compromise on religion at all. You know, like I married a woman that believe you have to be baptized to be saved. And I even going into the relationship, I disagreed with that. And why I went forward with that kind of information, I guess it just goes to show my character is pretty screwed up. But I think my character improved. I mean, it kind of even goes back to the Timo storytelling. You know, if Timo was, maybe if you see Timo and you like him, that character, you like the character, and then you kind of sympathize with his choices, maybe because the character needs to be established that he has low self-esteem, or the character has to be established that maybe he just has no patience. You know, I mean, that's kind of good character development too, when you think about like, why in a story, why does the character make choices that are like pretty pathetic, you know? But it's like, I don't know how you could create good story about that, but I think what, like Timo at the end, like if I created a whole story about Timo, he would at the end, he would get with that woman that he had so much in common with, that it just was like, it was just like one of those, it wasn't even like mixing vinegar or mixing oil and water. It's like, because oil and water don't mix, just like they say blood and water don't mix either, you know. But when you have maybe two oils together, they will mix. Like if you have oil-based and water-based paint, it's not gonna look good. You know, it might actually make a good texture if you're gonna do something crazy. But if you're trying to do like a good solid color of paint, you're gonna have all oil base. So I think that's a good analogy for like how maybe Timo in the beginning was more like a freaking water-based paint, and then by the end he's freaking solid like an oil-based paint. And then he gets with like an oil-based kind of girl, and then they get together and they make a good solid color. So I think that's a great analogy for that, you know. But I'm not saying like you got to be the same colors, because you might get the color you really want. Maybe you want a purple, So you'll get with like a red and a blue, and you get a purple out of it because you're basically two oil-based paints, but you're going to get a solid color at the end again. I don't know. I like that analogy. I just thought of it right now. So, but anyways, that's what I got for today about my vlogging and the takeaway that I like to get out of this is like, you know, what do you do to move your story along? How are you going to get your story moved along? You could screw up your story and make your story take longer if you're going to take, if you take the lazy way. Like, for example, like I was saying about going to school, you know, get locked into something that you're going to want to do for the rest of your life. You know, because I can't say what I'm doing right now is what I want to do with the rest of my life, but it's just right now is how I'm making ends meet. I'm not like too thrilled about it.